What's going on, folks? How you doing? I'm RDR2 and 9. We're going to be doing the Red Dead Redemption 2 podcast. I understand a few of you probably won't have heard of me before, as we're on Red Bandit's channel as well this week, because we have him as a guest on the channel. And I thought I'd just quickly say that we're doing this because it's pretty cool to talk about Red Dead. We'll be talking for about half hour or so about all the stuff. And we have, excuse me, myself, RDR2 and 9, of course. We have Mr. Dean, known as Red Dead 2 Videos. He is here as well. Say hello, Dean.
Hello, what's up, Outlaws?
And
Everyone.
we have Hazard as well, who is also a Red Dead guy. Say hello, Hazard.
What's going on, guys?
And of course, the guy that you all know as well, if you know, it's a big name in Red Dead 2 at the moment, which is pretty cool for everybody who does not know Mr. Red Bandit. Feel free to say hello.
Guys, glad to be joining you guys today for this video. Excited.
Definitely, it's gonna be a good time. Happy to have you on, man. It's good. It's been a
Very
long time
much.
coming.
Definitely, yeah. I wish I had have done it sooner, to be honest. I love collaborating with other people. So excited for the future as well. It's definitely something we should keep up with. So they can all look forward to more episodes with us all together, I can expect.
For sure. And with more news ramping up for Red Dead 2, there's gonna be a lot to talk about coming up very shortly because we've had little scraps so far ever since the trailer dropped in May, which was the last big thing we got. So I'm excited for something new to happen.
That was so long ago now. It feels so long ago because we've had nothing else.
Come August 2nd, it's gonna be 3 months,
Yeah,
a quarter of a year.
definitely. The countdown begins.
It really does. So I guess one of the first pieces of news we should talk about in this video is just recapping on that complete official guide that was released yesterday, or available for pre-order yesterday by Rockstar Games, posted on their newswire and available in their warehouse. It seems pretty interesting. I don't know if you guys got an art book like that for GTA 5. I never did.
No, I didn't have anything like that. I mean, what struck me straight off the bat was the fact that they've actually chosen a different publisher. I may be wrong in saying that, but they usually go with Brady Games. At least they did with the GTA games from GTA 3 and up. So for them to choose, I believe it's Piggyback now, Piggyback Books. Just screams to me that there's some sort of background thing going on there. And I know that Rockstar have previously mentioned how the mission structure is changing. So I have a feeling that may be something to do with it. Maybe it's they've hired Piggyback to publish it, or whether it's some other story on that. But definitely interesting.
For sure.
Possible that Brady Games wanted a higher commission than they did before, or more money, because they know how much these things usually make. So they may have asked for more from Rockstar, and Rockstar just went, okay, that's fine. And then they just called these guys up. I actually bought the one, I'm convinced, I only just remembered it. There was one for GTA 5, and I picked that up. And it's basically what you'd expect: artwork, photos, guides to certain missions, explanations, all the stuff you don't really need, but it's nice to have. Like, I remember I used to spend like a little while just flicking through it. It's too big to like carry on a train or anything like that. Like you don't, these things are usually like A4 sized, but you don't,
I have one, too,
yeah,
exactly.
it's nice to flick through or have it on a shelf, or, it's nice to see them there. So like with Red Dead especially, and with all the visuals, expect a lot of artwork. Like you'll be getting several like
Really good, aren't they?
two-page artwork type things and explanations of like locations and that sort of thing as well. I'm gonna cough a moment, bear with me. I'm gonna mute my mic.
The awesome books, actually. I had one for GTA. Essentially, if it follows the same structure and the same design, I mean, what we can expect if it does foreshadow that of GTA's strategy guides. Normally, we have like a breakdown on weapons, the statistics, vehicles. Of course, in Red Dead, we won't have any supercars or anything, but you can definitely expect to probably see different breeds of horses and stats on them and things like that. And in regards to missions, they usually just tell you how you're supposed to play the mission. But since Red Dead 2 is changing that completely, and you can, so, quote by quote, you can choose how you do the missions, it's going to be interesting to see how that actually changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Personally, I never got one for GTA 5, but it does sound really awesome. Especially for Red Dead 2. Like, it's gonna be very
Definitely.
interesting.
It'll
It's gonna be
work.
very interesting.
I mean, because if they go with artwork and stuff, it'll look great. Like all the little photos of the landscape and stuff. Because that's the thing that I think will stand out most is like, yeah, the gunplay will be cool and feel satisfying, but the way it looks, like, I like just in Red Dead Redemption, you can go to like anywhere on the map. I was saying this to Hazard the other day. You can go anywhere on the map, and as the sun sets, it looks awesome, and as it rises, it looks awesome, and at night,
Yeah.
you got all the stars out, and you hear all the little crickets and stuff, and you know you're in siege. Like the maps are always awesome, and you can do that in GTA 5 as well. But there's something about just the countryside level of quiet in a Red Dead game that's really cool.
Definitely.
The whole
Something they're
entire
doing
game.
new in this one. Yeah, exactly. It's completely different, changing everything that we know from previous titles from Rockstar.
What we've seen from the trailers too is it seems like, you know, the atmosphere, just that whole vibe, like you were talking about, Rue, is going to be coming back. But I'm excited for just like the new locations and everything, and it's going to be nice to see this in the standard and the collector's edition of this official guide here about, you know, they have their dedicated maps chapter, it says, and besides that they have character art gallery, which I'm actually not sure how that differs from the standard edition, because on the standard edition you have information about the missions and characters, and then features about the vast and open world. So I don't know, like, I mean, I'm just hoping that this is a little bit different than what you can gather information about from the in-game, you know, so you can highlight the description of a horse when you want to buy one, or however you purchase a horse in Red Dead 2, either in the story mode or online. I'm sure it'll give you some description, like this is a black horse with a, you know, this mane, and you can buy this saddle, etc. I just hope we don't see that same information in this complete official guide, which I don't know if it's going to be the
These
same.
things are usually spoiler filled. Like they'll run down
Oh,
every
yeah.
mission and every like this is what happens to this character, and then you'll be faced with it. Usually, so like you just play the game. But
Yeah, I
looking
remember
at it,
before GTA that happened.
yeah, the GTA 5 one, I'm looking at it now. It was actually good. It just had the V logo. It was completely black. And it like I said, he was saying, Ban, it's braided games, but it's also limited edition strategy guide. So I wonder if it is just a slightly different style of book anyway, and maybe Braided
Yeah.
Games just didn't really want to
Yeah.
do it. Because they do it for everything. I remember they did Modern Warfare 2. I bought one of these things for, and it is literally just that textbook kind of you do this and then you do this and then you get given this and then you do that, and that's mostly it. So I wonder if they're going more with like just the overall world.
Yeah.
Well,
Hinting, maybe they're going to be hinting, because like as Rockstar said, there's different outcomes to different missions, and I believe in the Newswire statement it did say that it was like a brief overrun of missions, so they're not going to be saying if you do this, this will happen. I think it might actually hint to us like there's one alternative and then there's another alternative and stuff like that. And I know we're going to be getting a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I think the character art gallery is talking specifically about how they designed the characters behind the scenes when they came up with concept art, and I'll be really interested to see how that plays out. I've always been interested in behind the scenes stuff for like GTA and Red Dead Redemption. It's always cool to see the mind behind the you know, the game itself.
Here's just a question for you. I'm not too sure, but whoever has the GTA 5 art book, have they ever shown behind the scenes like character motion or anything like that?
Like
within
motion
the
capture?
studios? Motion capture, sorry. Yeah, within the studios.
I believe so. There's one tiny thing you can see on the Rockstar website. If you go to their jobs section, there's a section for game testing, and the only piece of motion capture you can see there is someone in a suit, and also you can see like how that translates to GTA 4, I believe. But I don't think they've ever shown us any footage from behind the scenes or any photos.
The most you ever usually see or hear about that sort of thing is like video of people in the sound studio talking, and you'll hear like a common line from like the game, but they don't usually do that for GTA and stuff. They did it for Red Dead, but they didn't do it for the game. They did it for the music, and that is a video worth watching. I swear to God, anybody listening to this, go to YouTube at the end of this video and go and look at behind the scenes for Red Dead Redemption's music, and you will be amazed at like the level of work that went into that. Like, you actually see people playing all those really strange guitars. You know, when you get like Rattlesnake Hollow and it's like, like, yeah, like that is a dude with a piece of metal in his mouth just flicking it. Like, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff like that. So, like, you know, hopefully we'll get that stuff again, because the music just made it brilliant.
I really
Yeah.
hope like guys like Woody Allen return, because I saw exactly what video, or it was a series of videos. It was like 2 or 3 parts, and I
Yeah.
saw it the other week, and I was so blown away by it. I was like, wow, because it's not just like you step into this area of the map and it plays this music. It's like these guys spent all this time to create strings of different events to match emotion. So it's like if you're just exploring a new area for the first time, you'll hear a certain set of sounds. Whereas if you're getting into a gunfight, it's a totally different vibe of music, and it's always different, which is really cool. I mean, obviously you'll end up hearing all of it eventually, but just how much variation they did is really incredible. So I'm hope something like that returns. That'll be sweet.
They also made it for so that the thing I found, because I don't know very much about music and writing and playing, of course, like, so it was really interesting when they were explaining how they did that. So like it builds up so that you like see you're in an area and it plays a certain track, and then you jump on a horse and it doesn't change it, it just adds more on top of it. But in order for it to work together, they had to record it at the same speed or whatever, so all the music is played at the same pace, it just so that they can blend it on top of each other. So like you jump in on a horse, then you start maybe you've got the law enforcement coming after you, well there's another track that goes over the top, and before long you've got 5 or 6 different pieces of music playing at the same time, and it's so on the fly, it's unreal. But for a game made in 2010, like that was incredible, great game changing stuff.
Super
Yeah.
complex.
There's
Go on, man.
No, I was just going to say that in terms of the actual guide itself, I think this is going to be the first book that we get where we get to see some behind the scenes stuff. But with GTA Vice City, again, toning into the audio part of it, as Rue said, there is a video on YouTube. It's quite low quality of Vice City where they actually show some of the actors in the studio. But as far as I'm concerned, that's the last time we ever really got a glimpse of the inside of any of the behind the scenes work, which was kind of cool. I'd recommend that video as well if anyone can find it.
I definitely got to look it up. The last thing I know, the one, because I haven't seen the Vice City one. We've seen the GTA 5 characters, I think, doing some. Maybe it wasn't behind the scenes, but it was interviews, I guess, before the game released that came out after. But the last one that I saw of any behind the scenes stuff, which really wasn't even Rockstar, it was Team Bondi, was for LA Noire, because that's when motion capture really started to become huge for Rockstar. I mean, Rockstar produced it; it didn't have much. I mean, they helped develop it, because I heard Team Bondi really was a crappy company to work with. But
yeah, they are apparently. Loads of bad stuff came about Team Bondi. I think they've shut down now because of how bad it was there.
Yeah, not paying employees, and it wasn't even just like, oh, we can't afford to give you a bonus. It's like, you've been working for 3 months now and we haven't given you a single paycheck, but we expect you to finish this game on time. Like,
that stuff never took off, did it? I think it proved to be too much more work, too much work and not enough payoff. Like LA Noire, it worked. The motion capture stuff, like it really worked. But they never translated it across to like GTA 5, the full motion capture. I mean, like even now, it's still like they motion cap most of it and then add in the effects layer, like to animate stuff. Like
yeah, they motion cap the movements, but LA Noire had that huge focus on facial features just because it was investigative and detective work and things like that. So you need to see if people were lying and things like that.
Yeah, so they still haven't transitioned fully to it because it's just too difficult. Like they literally had to make sets up for that stuff and like transfer all of it over. However, it's coming. It's on its way because James Cameron, working on Avatar 2, they've had to develop motion capture that can work underwater.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because they got it so that it's underwater and that they can film underwater and have it captured and put it straight in. So they're getting there. So that we'll have it at some point. But for games, it's just too much at the moment.
Yeah. It's a fascinating feature.
Totally.
Definitely. There is one for GTA 5, actually. I think it was Stephen Ogg, the guy who plays Trevor, saying that, coming back onto what you said about making up the sets, there is an interview with him where he says he calls his character an avatar, and apparently Rockstar got annoyed with him at that. But he was basically just briefly outlining how when they were doing the motion capture, they had to physically build the sets. Like if Trevor's walking into his trailer, that isn't just like a platform. It's like a complete trailer built out of just plastic ornaments and things like that to make sure it was accurate. I just found that really interesting.
Quite difficult to do. It's so, I mean, really, it's they spend so long doing it because they very often then have to go over the top again and go back to the sound studio to like talk over it because of course the sets are designed for visuals and motion capture, not necessarily sort of 7.1 surround sound audio. So they've got to go over and do it again in the sound. It's so much work, man. Like video game characters, like people like those three guys that did GTA 5, I guarantee you when they were told that they didn't have to do any more for DLC, they were happy. Because it's thousands of hours of work in sound studios and motion. Honestly, it's so much work.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
they were
think
actors
people
and
these
voice
days-
actors at the same time.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, sorry. No, I was just gonna say I don't think people these days appreciate the work that goes into the games. Like they don't realize and see behind the scenes how much effort is actually put into it at the end of the day.
So
just for
much
them to
time.
criticize it.
Yeah,
Fix it.
true.
Fix it. When your character stumbles on a twig and he goes, "Argh, argh, argh," someone stood in a sound studio and recorded that noise. Like when you fall from the skyscraper and Michael's there going, "Argh," like they had to stand and film that. That was a day's work for someone to stand there grunting.
Oh, you know, some AD was sitting there like, I need a little bit more emphasis, you know, from the nostrils. I don't think it was quite like throaty enough. Like, I need you to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. And
And
then
you
you
think
had
of all
people
the-
listening to that to like remaster it in the studio.
Yeah. The thousands of hours of getting that right and then like attaching that to the code that triggers it. So like if something happens, play this sound. Like that's just it's insane levels of stuff. Like it's crazy.
Definitely a lot of detail. But yeah,
That's
I'd
why
love to see
what we
things
thinking
like that
about-
coming back.
The strategy guide just got released by Rockstar. Well, I mean, what does everyone think that actually means? I mean, we had the T-shirts, the guide. They've asked us to pre-order the game with no information really coming out. We don't even know anything about the online yet, but they're asking us to pre-order the Ultimate Edition, which is all online focused before a certain end date. I mean, surely that means news is right around the corner, right? I mean,
It has to be. I mean, that's one thing, especially, I mean, I was kind of bummed because I was live streaming when a user by the name of Junior, he came into the stream and he said, hey, the pre-order bonus of the treasure map, that was extended to August 15th. It was leaked by Xbox. And people have been coming on my stream being like, new news released. And they always fool me because I got to go on Twitter and the Newswire. And I'm always like, well, you guys duped me. But so I didn't believe it at first. And then I checked. I was like, wow, this guy's right. So I almost thought, like, I mean, I was hoping that gameplay or just some type of news would have been released before the 31st because that's when we all expected the pre-order bonuses to expire. Obviously, this extension is planned by Rockstar. You know, they didn't just decide to extend it by 2 weeks. This was their plan all along, but we didn't know that. So I think, I mean, it has to be, obviously, we have to see something before the 15th when when the treasure map pre-order bonus expires. I'm just hoping it's big enough to kind of live up to what everyone's expecting, because now more than ever I think people are more hyped to see something. I mean, after the third trailer everyone wanted gameplay, but it's been a quarter of a year now coming up, so we need
2nd of
soon.
August, apparently. 2nd of August is when they're having their investors call. And I know when they have their investors call, that generally means some information is literally either 2 weeks prior or 2 weeks post that event. So I thought that was quite a big clue. Someone posted that on Reddit. I don't know how accurate that is, but I know they do these investor calls where they do release information around that time. So maybe they're getting ready to do that and market the game finally. So we'll finally get to see more news coming out weekly or something like that, surely.
Yeah,
That's
Legacy
They,
talks about it.
It's not always the case that they do. I mean, 2012 for GTA 5, right around Max Payne's time, they had one of those Take-Two conference calls.
Mm.
And they were talking about how well Max Payne's doing, and then GTA 5 got one line. It's in development by Rockstar North, etc. It should be expected to be huge, blah, 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 blah. And everyone claps, went away, and then, like, we were all freaking out, and then, like, nothing. Radio silence again for ages. It's so, I mean, with saying we've got no news, we've had lots of news this month for Red Dead, just nothing that we actually want. Like, we want gameplay. We want to see this thing in action, going crazy. Not that, but they've been marketing it like they have last night with the whole book, because we're all here talking about the game. They market very well. It's just we don't see anything more substantial for ages,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is a damn shame.
I'd be satisfied with new screenshots, to be honest.
Just
Me
something
too.
new. I'm
I
really
wouldn't
hoping
mind
this time
screens.
around that we see something
Oh.
substantial like you were talking about, though, because even though they could just say like, oh, it's in development, it's expected to be big, etc. This is coming up. The game's gonna release actually in 2 days. It'll be the 3 month mark until it releases. So we're getting close to release, so we need to see something. I would say pretty major,
Yeah.
and also just the fact that they can bring some type of information to their shareholders. The major, the board of directors, and say, hey, or at least Take-Two's board, and say like, hey, this is kind of our plan moving forward. This is how we're going to execute on it. This is the expected result. We've been driving up hype over the recent months with the trailers, and now it's time to push forward to really get started on our marketing to make sure we control the market as much as possible, which I would expect them to do, but we never know.
They've got loads of online details to release as well. I mean, when you look at the actual map of what was still left to be revealed, they've done the shirts. Well, they've announced them and they've been leaked. They've done the guide. I mean, they haven't done anything really about the online. And I know it's a single player driven game, and obviously single player is their main focus. But with 3 months left, I mean, my prediction would be that August will be for more single player information, and then maybe September online, and then in October, I don't know, maybe it's too late, but maybe that's when gameplay will come. I mean, I know we all hope that will be sooner, but I'm just really struggling to find the structure that they're going to use from this point onwards. I know it's Rockstar's strategy to leave things quite late and surprise us, but I do kind of start thinking to myself, they are kind of lacking at the moment. I mean, we've had tons of news, I know we have, but there's been nothing substantial there that would solidify anyone buying these pre-orders. And I'm starting to think that the reason it was extended till August the 15th for these pre-order bonuses is because Rockstar's about to release something. I mean, there's got to be a reason, right, for them to extend that.
Yeah.
For
I don't
sure.
know about you guys, but there's just a weird feeling in the air, like just around Rockstar in general.
I think we're all
Yeah,
just getting
yeah.
impatient.
Yeah,
for the most
yeah.
part.
Exactly.
Like not like angry impatient, but just like something to satisfy us has
Curiosity.
to come
I'd
soon.
say.
Yeah, curiosity, exactly.
Yeah, we want to see more about this game. It's gonna be, it could be Rockstar's best title, but it probably won't sell as well as GTA 5. Then again, it could do,
Yeah.
but it just depends
Definitely.
really. When did the GTA Online trailer come out? Or
It came out August 9th. No, sorry, July 9th was this just gameplay trailer in general. August, like the first 2 weeks of August it came out, because they teased it at the end of the gameplay trailer, and that's when the character was sitting in his apartment, and they're like, we'll talk about GTA Online in the future, and you see like a jet flying by, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But who knows,
That was crazy.
I was so hyped for that. Like just seeing all the names pop up, I was like, whoa, this is gonna be big.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. And it's like, it gets to that point where you're like, you're not jealous, but you're like, someone in the world right now is playing this game. And the other day, a few weeks ago, I was up in Edinburgh myself, and I was passing the Rockstar North offices, and I saw all these guys coming out. They were like 20 years old. They were like 30 years old. And I was just thinking, you guys in there have been playing Red Dead all day. And I wish I could have, got some more information out of them. I mean, I tried to speak to a few of them, but you know how they're like, they're always quite secretive about what they do. But I'm just so excited. I think anticipation's definitely getting ahead of me. But what I was going to say also is that if there is a gameplay trailer, how do you reckon it is going to be structured? Because I thought it would be single player trailer, then online, or are they going to combine them? I mean, I don't know really what I want to see, but I definitely want to see some NPC interactions. I want some more information on that for sure.
yeah, I want to see more of the interaction. It sounds very interesting, like in how the world is gonna be like a living, breathing world for once. Like if you look back at any other Rockstar title that involved NPCs, even GTA 5, like the NPCs are so dead. They're just there like to show, and they're not really doing anything. But it sounds very interesting what they're doing for Red Dead, for sure.
Yeah, well, like the way the NPCs interact with you. Apparently, if you beat someone up or you rob someone, if they see you again, they'll remember you. Apparently, the sheriffs will actually patrol the city and the town, and if you start a fight, they won't just shoot you straight away. Like in GTA, they're like, oh, you knocked someone's coffee out their hand, shotgun to the face. And it's like, geez, I mean, but in Red Dead 2, apparently they're going to be so much more intelligent, and that's something I'm really, really excited to see.
Yeah, like even if you wander into a town and then you have like some NPCs like whispering your name, like say, "Oh God, it's Arthur. He's in the town," and they're just like talking amongst themselves about you. I think that would be very interesting to have something like that.
For sure. I
The
wonder how that
hardest thing
trailer's
to
gonna go.
Sorry, Hans. I'm still here. I've just been dished up some dinner, so I'm going to be eating. I'll mute my mic when I'm not talking.
Ooh,
Um,
lovely.
the hardest thing to do is to code good AI, because it has to be so smart for it to be believable. Like if you remember GTA 4, the police would literally like if you turned your sirens on, everyone would immediately start slamming on their brakes. Like they'd stop
Yeah.
in the middle of wherever they are. They'd just stop. And then in GTA 5, you're driving along, you put your sirens on, and they've gone the other way. They now just throw themselves across the flipping cliff just because you're behind them. They like throw themselves out of the way. So it's like the hardest thing to do is to get that balance where it's believable. So now you're talking about
Mhm.
having like people talk to each other and like have like memory be people. I mean, if they do it, they'll set like a new benchmark. Like it'll be insane. You know, like
It's
people like
interesting.
Skyrim because they think, oh, Skyrim did a good job of it. It's like Red Dead's probably trying to go a couple steps further again. Like
Hmm.
it should be insane.
Maybe it'll be exclusive to Red Dead 2 in that case, because that's a really, really good point. I've never really thought of it like that, but that's just kind of opened my mind because with GTA, they've got NPCs to deal with, police to deal with, they've got cars, they've got how things interact with a huge city and so many elements. But in a Western game, where the only real things you have to code is, I mean, you know, they don't have to code vehicles or how they drive and behave when they're driving. I feel like because there's a significantly less amount of, you know, there's less quantity that they have to focus on. That's kind of why they're able to drive so much ambition into these NPCs. And I'm really excited because I feel like Red Dead 2 may be an exclusive for that sort of detail. You know, when GTA 6 arrives, I know that's a bold statement. It's probably not going to come for a few years. I don't know if they're going to be able to recreate what they do in this title, just simply because it's kind of like, you know, this world's going to be huge and so much vegetation and trees and so much life in this world because there's so much less on the hardware to focus on. So that's why I'm really excited as well to see how this is going to stand out from other future titles as well and almost make, you know, game of the year.
Hmm.
I think.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Go on, Lee.
No,
Do
I know this is
you-
off topic, but I don't know about you guys, but I find like in GTA 5 with the NPCs, especially the cops, like you don't get a chance at all. Like they just shoot you and that's it. Like in GTA 4, I know they pointed the gun and they actually gave you a chance to get down on your knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was very good. Like I don't really like the interaction in GTA 5 at all. And I know Red Dead's a different game, but I think it would be cool like if you actually, you know, had something more, you know, as we said about the NPC interaction, more like intelligence involved. I think that's the way forward. But
You
as
see
you
so
said,
many
Panda.
West-
Yeah.
Sorry, no,
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't mean to interrupt
exactly.
you, but like in Western movies, you get like this whole posse of sheriffs coming up to you, and they're like, "We got word that you guys have just robbed a bank," and they're like, "Yeah, well, it wasn't us." And like they actually exchange conversation and they exchange remarks, and sometimes they're gritty to each other, sometimes they're, you know, stubborn with each other, but they don't always resort to a gunfight, and that's what I'd love to see more of. You know, in the modern day, in a game like GTA, again, yeah, I may be going off topic. The police just point and shoot, but in Red Dead, with that Rockstar are always inspired by the movies, and that's something we see quite often. And I'm excited to see how they maybe integrate these NPCs being intelligent and how we can resolve situations without resorting to violence straight away. And some of the conversations we can have and the reactions we can choose to have, you know, oh, sorry, Sheriff, I didn't mean to do that, or that wasn't me, or we can just straight pull out our shotgun and shoot them. That variety is what's going to make the game so exciting for me.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really excited because I think we could be heading in that direction. And kind of like you said, like GTA, it has all the buildings to render and the cars and everything like that. It's so much more hardware and resource intensive on that side. Whereas with Red Dead, they have the vegetation. You know, they have some buildings, and it's going to be interesting to see how Saint Denis works. But just in terms of that, they can focus so much more on the AI, like you said. So that's going to be nice because we're going to be, well, at least, you know, I'm speculating on this, but rather than feeling like we live within the confines of the game, which, you know, at the end of the day we still will be, at least the player's going to feel like they have more control over their choices when they
Yeah.
play. And so it's not just like if
Awesome, yeah.
we, you know, rob gold from some guy, you know, who's, or rob a cash register at the general store, and the sheriff comes over and tries to talk to us. It's not just run away and he chases us, or shoot him and run away and then we're getting chased by everyone. It's we can, maybe walk away and he's like, hey, come back here, etc. At least we can try and make our own path in the game to a certain extent, and that's exciting.
Same with the camp. Isn't it? The same with the camp, where the camp constantly moves. Like if we rob a bank and we fail that mission, as Rue said in the previous video, I believe he was saying from a leak, or someone mentioned how missions don't fail and they don't operate the same way. Like if you fail a mission, you get option A and B and C, and you can choose different ways. But also this time, if we rob a bank and it gets botched and we don't do it successfully, that doesn't mean we then go back to the camp and redo it, because then that might mean the law are now onto us. So we have to move the camp, go and do some other heists in another part of the map. And then ultimately, it might be a few weeks or months in the game till we get to do that again. And that's really going to add a whole sense of risk and reward to it. And I love risk and reward, especially with the way how horses now, if they die, they die. The stats get reset. You have this whole wide branch of stuff that you have to take into consideration rather than just blindly running in and shooting. And that's really what's going to make the gameplay experience really, really it's going to be fresh for everyone, not the same experience every time.
No shit. Yeah. I wonder if it's more of a case of, we're talking about the AI has never really been developed. I wonder if they've never been able to focus on the AI as much because of all the other stuff that they've had to do, like the big cities and the animation and all the other stuff that they've got in GTA. I wonder if they haven't really had time to do it properly. Like there's of course leaps and bounds, ahead, but there's not that much of a difference between GTA 4 and GTA 5's AI. They're all very much the same, a little bit smarter. The big difference is like the police, they now work on a site-based system as opposed to like just a general area. So they made waves there, but it didn't change a huge amount about the game. I wonder, because they're not having to worry about all that other stuff, that they've for the first time been able to actually really nail down some AI changes, in Red Dead. That would be pretty cool. 'Cause I think they will have made a lot of changes because they haven't had to do all the cities and all that craziness.
I'm sure it's been on their mind. They've always they probably for a while, since probably GTA 4, they've been like, we want to hammer down on the AI and make that more immersive for the player. But like you said, now they have a perfect chance to do it because they don't have all those other tasks to focus on.
Yeah, I think the main downfall with them was the 3 protagonists. Great feature to have in a game. First ever open world game to feature multiple protagonists. Well, no, probably not. That's a lie. But in this sort of way. And I think their 3 protagonists was a great idea. It was brand new. It was fresh. But I feel like if they had focused on 1 or 2 main characters, the story would have both been richer, because I found the ending of GTA 5 very, very poor compared to what Rockstar had previously been capable of. It was almost rushed. But also, the fact that they integrated 3 protagonists, I feel like they focused on that more than the world. And with Red Dead Redemption 2, they've obviously stated that there is only 1 protagonist, and they've had a lot more time to work on that. And that may be confirmed later down the line. We may find out that there is 2 protagonists. Maybe John Marston is playable. We don't know. But I definitely would agree that the fact that they focused on more than 1 protagonist definitely took a lot of their potential out of the AI and stuff in GTA 5, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't really agree with the 3 characters a lot. Like, I do get the idea that I had like 3 different personalities, but like, I just didn't agree with it. As you said, it took the focus out of the game, sort of, and the ending of the game was quite poor. Like, you just gotta look back at Vice City or San Andreas.
Did Dean turn into a robot for anybody else just then? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
You sounded like Wally for a second then.
Oh my
Wally.
god, really?
Probably just a
Is it
Wi-Fi
back now?
glitch.
I'm just wondering if it's
Oh
back.
yeah, it's back.
It's fine now, yeah.
It's okay.
My apologies about that.
Dean opened up a
GTA
Chrome
5.
window.
Excited to see how coming back to the strategy guide and how the different missions are stringed along and how all of those different varies, like the outcomes that we can have. I'm wondering if that will be online as well, because I don't know if you guys are aware, but there was someone who reached out to me quite a while ago. I don't know if it was real or not, but they said that NPC interactions will now be coming to online as well. And I don't know if that will play out, how that will play out, but I'm really excited to also see if that is going to be integrated to online, because then that will really set the barrier between an MMO and just an open world online game that's co-op,
Very true. I think it'll be there to some extent, but I think it'll be dumbed down in a way. Like, it's almost like how you see in GTA 4, Red Dead Redemption, GTA 5, how just if you notice the detail on the map, it is like the quality goes down very slightly just because you're now handling this with a bunch of different players on an online server internationally. Like that's so much data to be sent across simultaneously to all these players. So they have to do some certain adjustments, right? So I think we'll see them not necessarily cutting corners, but making choices on which features of the AI to include that we've seen in the single player. But I do hope it is there to like the most extent to where you kind of still have control over the environment and you can craft your own situations.
If you go into the single player for GTA 5 and you just play like you slap bang in the middle of the city and just look around for about 5 minutes, don't do anything, no guns, no running around, just wander around and look, you'll see an enormous difference between that in single player and GTA Online's like online world. For a start, helicopters, planes, jets, and everything are flying around up in the air. You know that the really, really big plane that you've got in GTA 5?
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
It circles around the outside of the map all the time. The big Boeing thing, like that's there. Like you just noticed that there's a lot more going on as a standard in GTA 5 in comparison to online. So you'll probably find that will be true with Red Dead as well. There'll be more happening in the single player because rendering that sort of thing, info, like you'd end up with lagginess if you ended up having to render all of that all the time, plus whatever people are doing as well.
Well, with Red Dead Redemption 2, one of the most exciting things as well is also how if you lose an item of clothing like your hat, apparently you can go back and reclaim that hat from like someone who may have picked it up or stolen some items from you and stuff like that. And I think that's quite exciting as well.
Yeah, that's definitely adds depth into the game. It would be a really cool gameplay feature, but again, even that like bit of detail would really change the game dramatically.
For sure.
Just having that little bit of detail in the game, it will change the game, and especially the gameplay as well. But it's sort of like GTA Online, not really to that extent, but if somebody stole your car, you can obviously go back and claim your car from the other player or just lock them out of your car.
Yeah, you could just deny someone access. I wonder how that'll happen with horses in online. Sorry, you do not have access to this player's horse.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, that would be good.
You have to be able to steal someone's horse, by the way.
Like, guaranteed. That would be the big.
You can't pull that off. You can't be like, sorry, but you're not allowed to get on this horse. It's like, no, I'm getting on the horse. What are you going to do about it?
They take the saddle off. Can you imagine that? Maybe Rockstar Games are like, oh, you get off your horse, your saddle disappears.
You start pulling on that nag's mane. You jump on the back. Like
work your damn nag.
Yeah, you lasso horses. They don't have things on it. You'd be fine. You can take horses, but that's the thing with online. It might not be the same. It might only be a single player thing where you have to be connected to the horse, and maybe it doesn't work for online because of the fact that people love spawn killing. Like, might not be the same.
The thing I'm looking forward to is getting my flying unicorn with Pegasus miniguns and homing rockets and shooting some people down when Biff DLC comes out that costs €5 million.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm just joking. You never know. Anyway.
So to transition into the last topic of this podcast, I kind of wanted to get your guys' opinions on what we can see from Rockstar going forward with Red Dead Redemption 2 leading up to release. I know, Bandit, you touched on the gameplay trailer and kind of how if it's questioning if it's going to be different than what we've seen with the GTA 5 trailer. And personally, I think we're going to see longer takes of Arthur Morgan in different situations with the AI to see how that mechanic works rather than just seeing him run and gun in a bunch of different situations. But, we could see something totally different. We also don't know if we're going to have multiplayer in the online version teased at the end of the trailer, if it's going to be intertwined, if they're not even going to mention it and we're going to go through another news drought for a month and then they're just going to drop multiplayer information on us. We don't really know. I'd hope not. The one thing I do think about their marketing plan so far is they've followed GTA 5 for the most part compared to like Red Dead Redemption 1, where we saw over 2 hours of gameplay trailers and commentary and all that stuff before the game even released, and we had so much to talk about. I think we're going to see Rockstar be even more scarce on dropping news for us than GTA 5 was. So I don't think they're going to be any more lenient on giving more news the closer we get. We're just going to see even less than we've ever seen before in the history of this company.
That's true. I think we should all like almost make our predictions for the trailer. I mean, I'm going to call it now. I'd like to come back to this video and go, wow, I was accurate. But like my predictions for this gameplay trailer, if we get one, is that we're going to have a single player and a multiplayer different. So I believe in the single player trailer. The things we're going to see mostly are Deadeye and how that changes now, because as Rockstar have confirmed, we can track down animals with Deadeye, I believe. And I believe there's a new stat called the environmental awareness skill. So I'm going to be really interested to see how that one plays out as well. And of course, NPC interactions. But one last thing that I think that is almost necessary to have in that trailer, if they do release a gameplay trailer, how the camp works and how the camp moves around and things like that. But that's just my predictions. And I would predict as well that the online trailer is definitely going to come out after that, but I wouldn't be able to say what's featured in that because we simply don't really know what's going to be in the online yet. I don't know if it's going to be like GTA Online or anything like that, but that's just my rough ideas anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to get... I don't think we're going to get gameplay for a while. I know we all, people don't like that. I think we're going to see more about Arthur. It'll be an Arthur Morgan trailer where it focuses on him for 2 minutes. Or like 5 minutes even. Like it could very well be just a full-blown thing. Because I think we don't know enough about him yet. We don't know anything about it. Like think about it, before we started seeing gameplay and stuff, we heard a lot about who John was and what was going on. We, at the moment, only really know about the gang, and even them, we don't know much about who they are. Like, we know some of their names, but we don't really know any of their backstory. So I think before we can see gameplay, really, we kind of need to know about him. So I think somewhere along the line, even if it's not like, even if it's really close to gameplay, I think we'll see some stuff about Arthur first.
Yeah, I want to learn more about Arthur himself.
Arthur.
You
You said
Arthur
cur
Morgan.
earlier as well. What is a cur, Dean?
A what?
A cur. It's a car. A car.
I never said that, did I?
You said cur.
Oh,
I'm
sorry,
busting
I
your
don't remember saying
balls,
that.
Mr. Dean. Yeah, you're okay, Dean. You're all right.
Bollocks.
But I'm just poking fun, Mr. Dean. It's all good.
Thanks, Rue, buddy.
It's all right. This
Yeah.
is all part of the Let's Get Dean. I don't know, a red face.
Hey, he's been live streaming a lot recently. Anyone who
Yeah, dude.
hasn't checked out Red Dead 2 videos live streams, check out his channel. He's got some sick streams going on.
I'm still improving them, Mr. Hazard.
Hey, it's all part of the process. We're all improving.
You're ahead of me. I haven't done a single live stream yet. If I'm being totally honest, I have no idea what I'm doing. YouTube said to me, hey, try live streaming. And I was like, okay, I'll click this red button. And I have a feeling I live streamed my face for like 5
I was going to
seconds.
see your face just
on the
popped up.
laptop.
It's like, what is
Yeah,
going on
I'm
here?
new to all that. Live streams with all of us together when the game releases. That's something we should definitely do together. Get some of our viewers and friends in here as well. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, ton of different stuff. I mean, we have a lot to look forward to. We still have a couple months time to pass before this game comes out, so we can make do with Red Dead Redemption 1. Obviously, when Red Dead Redemption 2 releases, we're all going to be blown away by what we can do, and it's all going to be new, so that's exciting. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I mean, this is definitely one of the longer episodes we did, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, we have our special guest Red Bandit here today, and hopefully he returns for future episodes. If you're watching on my channel or Hazard, then definitely drop a like and subscribe. I'll have all these guys linked down below. Iru399, Red Bandit, and Red Dead 2 videos. They'll all be linked down in the description. And if you're watching on any of their channels, we want to do this more. So if you guys want to say your goodbyes.
Bye. Okay.
That should just be the outro. You should just
Yeah,
leave it
see,
at that,
yeah.
to be honest with you.
Right, to the pub. No.
It's been really fun. I've enjoyed joining you guys today. Definitely, you can expect to see the upload on my channel, and definitely will be featured in future episodes. Excited for the later, more information this week. Actually, if there is any, we'll have to get straight on it as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a good episode. I was concerned about how it might happen with 4 of us on here because, of course, we're all asking. We all want to talk because we're all out for talk because it's what we do. But it's worked all right. A couple of times we all talked over each other, but it just happens. It's just so much to talk about. So yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're all having a good time. We're all having a
Yeah.
good time.
So yeah, if you happen to be on my page, you want to go on over to the others, you know where to find them. All right.
And yeah, Can I talk now?
Yeah, yeah, go for it, Dean.
Alright, awesome. I gotta admit, it is actually really strange for the first time having Bandit here, but it's awesome. Because I'm so used to listening to Bandit's videos and they're really good. So if you guys haven't, checked out Bandit, make sure you do so as well. Awesome guy. It's great to have you here, pal.
Thank you very much. I remember us speaking not so long ago. It's nice to be with you all, guys, and I'll definitely upload this and link all of your channels in the description if you're watching on my channel.
Fantastic. All right, thank you everyone so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Adios.